Good afternoon, welcome to the final word. Burnley 0, Everton 2. Those Toffees are at it again. Another win for the Blues. 4 on the spin, 4 clean sheets, 4 away victories on the run, 4 something else. I'm sure there'll be something else that's got 4 in it that we achieved the other day. But what a result. And it was obviously a very, very tricky game. In fact, 4 players out, I think, as well, for the Corey got injured. Just looking for a 4. But Jack, excuse me, this was a tricky game. We talked about it last week, saying, you know, hopefully Everton will be ready for this because it presented a different challenge. And given where Burnley were and where we were before kick-off, it also represented a good opportunity to put some distance between the two teams. And Everton have ended up doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Burnley, a team that we beat quite comprehensively earlier in the season. So, you know, they're wanting that result back as well, wanting to make improvements on what was quite an embarrassing defeat for them. We're going a place where, you know, they need a result as well. Because, you know, we've started building that buffer on them. They want to turn that round. Missing key players as well. You know, Mikalenko's been great the last few weeks. Brownfield speaks for himself. And there was a lot of worry about Godfrey and Keane, who were 2 players who haven't really featured this year coming in. And I'm sure we'll get into it in more detail, but they both took it in the stride. And just to maintain a professional, quality, mostly calm performance as well. Yeah, the blue machine just keeps rolling, doesn't it? That points deduction feels like a little bit of a distant memory now.
Did he say the blue machine?
He just
did he? Okay, we won't go too much into that. Ped, we did speak the other day about this was an opportunity. Apologies for this. This was an opportunity for Burnley to try to keep us within their grasp, and the injuries and suspensions were always going to test this squad in a different way. And we also went over the record in the Premier League. Everton haven't done brilliantly at Turf Moor over that time, but Saturday night, when you saw that team, and obviously it was confirmed Mikalenko was out, did you know straight away it was a 3 at the back, did you think, or were you thinking Ben Godfrey at left back?
Well, I think in the warm-ups it gave it away, didn't it? They were warming up in that.
Gone through a walk-through, weren't they? Basically going, what are we playing?
Yeah, basically. What's your name? Ben.
But you could see them like just as about to kick off as well, or looking at each other and speaking, going, "You're there."
And listen, it was a tough one on paper because I don't know what Burnley are a weird one, aren't they? Because I think there's an idea that they're better than what they are, and it's somehow waiting to come out. Well, I'm not sure they are better than what they are, because I thought this was the most thoroughly professional performance of the season by far. I thought, first 5 minutes or so, where obviously them having a lot of the ball and us trying to maybe figure out what we were trying to do. But there's a lot of that in our games, a lot of that in our away games. And I thought once we got through that and once we started playing our football and sort of winning our battles, feeling the opposition out, there was a couple of moments, like they played it down the channels, didn't you, of the centre-backs, and I think that caught us out with our high line a couple of times. But again, once we got that settled and sorted, I just thought we grew into the game so well, and the football ability of like James Garner and Jack Harrison, Onana started to come out, and you could really see that we didn't need the ball too much at the back. We could just get it into midfield and then start using the ball well. And I thought it was an absolutely brilliant performance. I really did. It's the kind of performance that we just haven't implemented in the last few years.
Yeah,
it was the understanding of we're better than you, and we're going to show you why we're better than us. And then when the moment's right, we're just going to shut up shop. And because we know you've not really got much. And that's a weird position to be in as Everton. It really is. It takes some getting used to watching that kind of football. It's early in the second half. You're like, is this a good thing or a bad thing? You don't quite know.
Yeah.
But I think what is true is Sean Dyche knows exactly what he's doing, and he's got his players all believing that. We were speaking last week, weren't we, about that German documentary about the manager saying, you've all got to be on the same page. And I just think you look at us and think this is a squad who all believe in what the manager wants from them, and they all believe he can elevate their game and make them better. And it's been outstanding to watch.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we just touched on it there, but we lost 3 at the back 4. We've been playing the back 4, and 3 at the back 4 were out from the last game. You know, I know Young went off quite early against Chelsea, and Patterson come on did really well. Since then, we knew Branthwaite was out because of the suspension, and then we lost Michalenko late as well. So it was a real test, and Everton haven't been very good at this in the past, of switching between 2 different systems, and players who are on the line, basically on the bench, coming in and almost seamlessly fitting in. And that's how it seemed, I thought. You know, I know we've had 3 at the back, but at times it was a real 3-4-3. But we did have Patterson high, and we did have McNeil, who was left wing back for this game, pushing quite high as well. And like Ped said, once the first 5, 6, 7 minutes were out the way, Burnley are good. They're good on the ball, knocking around well. They try to play nice progressive football. But once them first 6 or 7 minutes were out the way, Everton did sort of gain a control of the game. Now you can look at stats and go, well, they had 62% of the ball. Burnley fans will know this with Sean Dyche. He's not interested in dominating the ball. And we know it with us. We haven't got technically gifted players in our team to dominate the ball. But we know exactly what we're doing without the ball now. And I think that's been the biggest compliment I can pay Sean Dyche, is that, and his staff, they have drilled it into this team of what you do when you don't have the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in terms of being comfortable outside of the ball, Everton are probably one of the better teams in the league in that sole regard.
Yeah.
But a big part of that at the weekends was, Keane and Godfrey coming in and maintaining that. And for a long time, squad players at Everton have been players who just aren't good enough for the first team and were brought in as first team signings and haven't been able to cut it. And I know that is the situation with Keane and Godfrey, but it's not, they're in 1 week and they play bad and they're out, and then their replacement plays bad and, they get better by comparison. They come back in. They're not first choice players anymore, and I don't think they ever will be at Everton ever again. But to be able to just come off the bench and fit into his system, I'll put Patterson into this as well, because he's a player who doesn't have that much experience in the Sean's setup anyway, with injuries last year and Coleman being preferred, and now Ashley Young as well, and he's come in and maintained it, getting high up the pitch, and McNeil playing in that left wing back role, not his preferred position, but being able to fly up the pitch and be a defender and an attacker. If you can get that wing back role right, it's like having an extra player on the pitch because you're doing 2 different jobs. Yeah, I just thought we transitioned into that new formation, the new setup really well. I don't think it'll be our go-to when we've got everyone fit, but it's nice to have the option, isn't it, to change things up and get the best out of the players you have at your disposal.
What's really interesting, the question will be, were Burnley set up expecting us to play the way we played, and they were totally shocked by the fact that we played 3 at the back, and that sort of undone them a little bit, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's an interesting one for the future of, can the manager look at a situation where he sees the opposition who are quite comfortable maybe playing against a setup similar to ours and saying, well, today we are going to change it, we are going to go to that. Going back to your point about the squad players, what I really enjoyed about it was Keane and Ben Godfrey. There was no sulking or anything, and it was really a professional performance from both of them. Yeah. And it's difficult to know. Listen, I don't want to be in a position where we are rotating centre-backs. We've seen this a lot in the last few years, and it just hasn't served as well. And it's very clear that having 2 centre-backs, who are playing each other as all the time, has created the dynamic that we've got at the moment. Certainly in a tie-back 4, I don't want to see us chopping and changing, but it was nice to not have to worry, or certainly think, right, well, the next time that happens, Michael Keane will come in and do a job, or whatever, or Ben Godfrey can come in and do a job. And I thought that professionalism was really evident on Saturday. And I think the manager mentioned it in his press comments afterwards, saying it's not always about the starting 11, it's about the rest of the lads. If you can keep them engaged, that means everyone's engaged. And I thought that was a really good point, and shows the work they do behind the scenes. Not necessarily to keep everyone involved as such, or have to look after everyone. It's not his job. you know, you've seen that with other players who are not getting into the pitch or not even coming on as a sub. It's not his job to be nice to everyone. But what he's saying is that your moment will come and you better seize that chance. And I thought they did brilliantly, Keane and Ben Godfrey. I think massive credit must go to them because these are two players that, you know, we look at them and think, how much time have they got left at Everton? They're at different stages of their careers. You know, is there anything for them here? But brilliant. Well, you know, it's superb. Shows what kind of squad we've got at the moment.
I mean, the manager deserves huge credit, and Ian Woan and Steve Stone for being able to kind of foster this kind of attitude that we're seeing, because Everton, it's very similar to like how Moyes kind of had it. We've had to go back to basics, but there's nothing wrong with that, and it's exactly what we needed. And Sean Dyche has come in and he's doing a great job, and long may it continue, and the players have bought into it, and that's the biggest thing, getting a buy-in from them. And you're right, them two coming in especially at the weekend, because I think Patterson is on the verge of breaking in permanently. I think they do look at him and think he can grow into
He'll
that.
have his time.
The other two, I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not. Ben Godfrey, we would love to think he's a real viable option because he's 24, 25. He's not played well enough at time, but hopefully now the manager's clear with them and they can, when they're needed. Because Jarrett Brandtwaite and Tarkowski are the best partnership. We've seen that. But when you need it, you've got to come in and do the job. And what you want to do as a player is give the manager something to think about and go, well, you can play me because I'll play at the same level as what he's done. And listen, it worked an absolute treat. When we did break, we had a really good opportunity early on with Dwight McNeil. We'll just have a look at some of the stills here. And then what we did do well, and what Jack Harrison does well, is he can go with both feet. We've seen him stand a few things up with his right foot of late. We've got Patterson in the picture here, who was available for the cutback. It's on Jack's right foot there. Gets it onto his left foot as he comes back inside, and then he just floats one over. You've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, James Garner, and we've got Dwight McNeil circled at the back post. And as that comes over, McNeil on the next one, we can see he's just got to try and guide it back into that corner, James Trafford. On the next one is him actually connecting with the ball. And that's exactly what he tries to do, but he heads it just wide. But that was the first warning for them, really, that because we did have the wing backs, they were going to be high. No one was picking McNeil up there, and you thought, is that going to be an area which we can exploit? We then have another great opportunity. We see the stills on this one, and this is what I want to see more from Nathan Patterson. Yeah. When Ned gets it on, it'll be on in a sec, I think. Here we go. Yeah, there it is. We've got Patterson in an advanced position, which is where we want to see him, and that got the arrow there of where I want him driving on. Harrison has played this through two defenders because Patterson's done the overlap, which is what we've been talking about for weeks. Yeah. We take it on one, and then you've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And what Dom does really clever here is he motions towards the straight line arrows. That's going to be his run. Yeah. And then he just pulls off the defender round the back. Really good play. Patterson floats a lovely cross in, and you see Dom's got himself that little bit of space now to attack the ball. That's where he should head it. Excuse me. That's where he should head it, and he scored. And I'll be honest, as he rose, I thought he'd score because it's Dom. And he heads it too close to James Trafford, who does make a good save. Yeah. But I just think, and I'm expecting Dom to score.
Just put it the other side of a minute.
When he's like that, hanging in the air, I always expect him to score because he's so good in the air. But what we did really well, of course, is we go and score from the corner. Yeah. We've got Dwight McNeil here, just about to take the corner. We've got McNeil there, that's his view. We take it on one. I've got Amadou Onana circled as he's getting into the 6-yard box. And what a note when Everton had corners was the size of us. And in fact, the commentary team said the giants of Everton, and you're thinking we didn't even have 6'5" Jarrett Brandtwaite in there either this week. They've got Onana circled, the ball comes in, and here you can see him and James Trafford circled. But Onana, his leap is huge, and the goalkeeper's flailing really, and then we take it on, and you can see the ball's past the goalkeeper. And on this next one, just look how clean he is heading that ball. Because at first, I don't know about you, but when he heads it in, you're always just for that second thinking, has he fouled the goalkeeper? Yeah. When you see it again, it's just a clean, he just gets there, Trafford didn't really know how to deal with it, did he? And just felt from that moment, we'd already had a corner, I think, and he looked a bit ropey, that was definitely, Jack, an option Everton could exercise and maybe get themselves even further in front.
Yeah, well, we seen when we played Burnley a few weeks ago in the cup, they don't deal with set pieces like they used
Onana
to
scored from
as well. Yeah. At Trafford, he didn't play in that game, but you look at the size when you know he's a kid, and while he's a good prospect, he's still very much learning, isn't he? So maybe coming for crosses, I mean, a big 6'4" midfielder might not be his speciality. 6'5", even harder for him.
Yeah.
So
that inch makes a difference, yeah.
Yeah, but no, you got the impression quite early on that we could cause them issues through this, and that we seen it, didn't we? Good header by Onana, and yeah, whenever you see the keeper make contact with the attacking player, you do worry foul because keepers are protectors, aren't he? But he just outjumps them, doesn't he?
Yeah.
There's no sniff of a foul there, and great for Onana coming back into the team to get his goal as well, because I think he's so important. I think he had a really good first half as well, and he's going to be massive for this Everton team going forward if he stays fit.
6'5".
Yeah, 6'5", not 4.
Ped, I mean, sorry, that goal, to me, just shows I think he should be scoring more, because he is good when he attacks the ball.
I think he should, like, from set pieces, definitely. If it's the what I liked about the goal was, I mean, just showed it there, the two before it, we showed the threat down the right, and we kept that going, and as you mentioned there, Harrison, and then I thought it was a great run by Patterson to get himself in that space. Yeah. There's so much space there. And then to score straight away, we were like, we're hitting the nail, aren't we? And we're hammering this home. And I thought there was like a sheer look of terror on Trafford's face. Yeah. Like, he looked like, I can't cope with this. I just can't cope with this. And their defence looked the same. And it really was, in terms of management again, it was like a man against a boy.
Masterclass.
He did not have a clue.
You could see with McNeil, when we had two cut, and you put the corners right on the keeper because we knew how big we were. That's something they've looked at, isn't it?
But that's like, I know they listen, they want to do things a certain way, and I appreciate that. And I know they have changed a little bit, but you could see who's been doing this for a while and just hammering home the things that work. And to get the set piece exactly where you want it. And they would have looked at it and said the keeper doesn't come off his line, or he gets stuck underneath the ball, or whatever it is. And I think it's funny because Pickford's been criticised off set pieces at times in the past for not coming for things. And I think when you're not a huge goalkeeper, I think you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision to put your defenders in a certain place to make sure they deal with the threat, and you're almost standing on the line or almost behind the line at times to deal with, well, if they do win it, I'm not out of this. And I think that's where Trafford's got to make that decision as he goes forward.
What I nearly put on was the 3-2 game and Dyche beat Everton, which was his last win, actually, as Burnley manager. And if you remember, their equaliser was an in-swinging, I think it was Dwight McNeil again, in the same end, an in-swinging corner to the back post. And if you look at it, Pickford ends up out of the goal, and they just knock it in. Yeah. And it was the same thing, a goalkeeper that doesn't come and claim it, because Jordan doesn't come for, he stays on his line. It's fine. He obviously thinks, I can't get through those players, but that is a clear management decision by Sean Dyche. And I just thought, I did almost put it up for a comparison, because it is very similar. Got another goalkeeper here who's a very good keeper, Trafford, young, growing into it, but someone who isn't going to come and take them when you've got big 6'5" lads attacking it, and Tarkowski's a handful at the best of times. You can get underneath the ball. We've seen Jordan do it against Burnley, and then Everton doing it with Dyche. For him, I think it was a little bit of a slap on the cheek of the owner who got rid of him, but it was a really well thought out goal by Everton, and something we've done quite a bit. We scored at Goodison in the Carabao Cup with a back post corner which Dom knocked across and Onana stabbed in the last one. So, it was well thought out and well attacked,
Well, it's a team doing what they're good at, isn't it? Which is the opposite of what Burnley were doing. Trafford coming for the corner. Is that the rashness of a young, inexperienced player, or is it company asking him to come for these crosses, even though he's not best suited to, because they want to get up the pitch quicker? That's unrealistic. Everton and the spec for Dyche are very realistic. They don't try and do anything that's above their abilities, and they just play within the means and go, okay, what can we do? Let's get very good at this. Burnley's problem has been trying to run before they can walk at times, and absolutely, if you want to play passing, possession football, go for it. But you don't need to compromise on coaching set pieces to do that. You can still be good at defending set pieces
though, isn't it?
and build from the back.
Well, that's what we were told 10 years ago, wasn't it? That it was parasite football. And yeah, we've seen the benefits of it.
But even the best teams score separately. Man City, brilliant at it when Liverpool won the league. Virgil van Dijk scored so many.
There's just no reason to not take advantage of that.
Arsenal do it with Arteta. You've got to, haven't you? Because you've got to use that. That might be the difference in the whole game, mightn't it? You might have all of the ball and you can't break them down. You get a corner and someone heads it in and you win the game, and that is the difference. And we're using, and Sean Dyche has done this brilliantly, and the players have bought into it, we're using everything that is available to us, aren't we, to score goals. You know, with lots of different scorers again at the weekend. You know, we've ended up with Onana's first Premier League goal this season, 2 goals this season, both against Burnley. We end up with Michael Keane scoring a goal. That's great, because other games it's been Decore, or it's been Dom, or it's been McNeil, and that is good. The more you spread that round, Michalenko scoring at Palace, the more we can spread that round, the Drissagana gay. This is what we want, because it gives you solutions when your centre forward isn't scoring, isn't scoring like Dom at the moment. But what I thought we did really well, Ped, was we got that goal, and then we didn't sit back like Everton have done, and it was almost as if we went, we can do something here, we can actually put our foot on the throat here and increase this lead. And we ended up getting a second goal.
Well, what I really liked about this goal, they'd attacked us, and then we played it out the back. And then I think it was Harrison and McNeil just played a couple of balls around the corner to each other, but just trying to play nice little passing triangles rather than just like going long or something.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of their players actually stands on the boot of James Garner, I think, and it's a foul. So it's not just like. Again, it's that thing of like, these things don't just come out of nowhere. There is something in it. The first goal comes from we're doing well down the right-hand side, and and then the second goal comes from we've kept the ball well. We've used it. We've got it in our back line. Give it to Garner, and then try to play our way out of trouble. And they fouled us, and then we've done what we're really good at.
We saw against Newcastle with the 30 passes before the Beto goal.
Yeah, but that's it,
we can do it with a bit of confidence.
Which is what the best teams do. And then Jordan Pickford, who's been taking a lot of those free kicks, can put a great ball in, which allows you to push all your men up front. Taki gets the first, and it goes to Michael Keane.
We've got it here, so Ned will put it on. So Pickford's played the ball. I've got Michael Keane circled. Burnley obviously never watched Everton's training videos because they've left basically Michael Van Basten on his own. And Taki's going up with 2 defenders and knowing that he's going to win it. He just knows he's going to win it. Keane has just got to keep himself on side and make that little run where the arrow is. We take it on. Taki's won it. And Keane's got himself clear now on goal. Ball bounces. Now, the next one, can he keep the shot down, which is the most important thing. Something Ned needs to learn. More to come on Thursday of that. Keane drives the shot in. James Trafford makes a good save. Dom's following it in. It hits the defender. It breaks back. And Michael Keane is
doing what any good centre forward.
He stayed alive, didn't he?
Yeah.
He stayed alive. If you just go back one, Ned, just go back to when he connects, right? He carries on that. What he does really well here is he carries his run. Whereas the lad who's slamming on, you can see to his right, is stopped on his heels. Keane doesn't stop. He follows on, and he's there to side, puts it in. And
Striker's instinct.
And that's it, though, isn't it? He slots it in.
He's tremendous in the opposition.
2-0. We know he's we know he's probably the best finisher at the club. We see that in the training videos. He's incredible. Made up for him because he is someone who hasn't been in the team. He's been out, and I imagine once Branthwaite is back in the squad, he'll be back out again. But it's good to see him come in and make a big impact.
He enjoyed it, didn't he?
He looked like he enjoyed it. He said himself after the game, didn't he? Said it was amazing to be back on the pitch. And obviously, for him and Godfrey, they're coming in. This hasn't happened a lot. They're coming into a team that's winning, and people know the jobs and the confidence. You come in. We saw under Carlo when he used to try and mix and match. It never really worked. He'd come in and we'd get beat, and then he'd go, "Oh, I've got to go back to the 2 that were playing." Well, they've come in and it has worked, and he's played a part in it. Great goal.
Yeah, and it's massive for him, isn't it? And, we said in the build-up last week, just for him as a person, forget about the Everton side of things and the football side of things, him as a person, just coming into a positive environment and being able to not only participate in but contribute in.
Yeah.
And just that positive feeling and know like it's down to you, and that'll just be massive for him as a person first and foremost, and then obviously the football side in it as well. He scored a great goal. I actually thought his first effort, his first strike was hit brilliantly. It was actually a really good save by Trafford. And we know he's got that in his locker. And look, the most important thing from Michael Keane in terms of will he get future opportunities was the defensive side of things. But we know he's got that in his locker.
He played well defensively.
And he did, but looking at the goal, it's just massive for him as well, isn't it?
But footballers are not stupid, are they? They know when someone's in the team and they're better than them, or they're having a great run, or whatever in the team and win. They're not stupid. They can't sit there, especially at centre back, where you don't get too many subs at centre back. Let's be honest. They just have to literally, part of their job, wait. Things happen all the time. We were sitting here 2 weeks ago and people were like, maybe Nathan Patterson needs to go on loan. The next minute he's in the team. Football, that's how quick football can change, can't it? You have to be ready to take your opportunity. And again, what Keane's done there is he's come in, he's done a job, scored a really good goal against his old team, kept everything going.
Celebrated.
Like he should, though. Like he should.
I'm just saying.
He's been at Everton a lot longer than he was at Burnley, I think. So, you know, and ultimately he's got us the points there and then. And but I think fans love that. Fans love it when you look at a player and go, God, he's in it as well, and he's in it as well. And the more you have, the more fans just go, God, this is boss, this is boss. Everyone's fighting with themselves. If they're enjoying it, they're loving it, and we're loving it, then we're all pulling in the right direction, and that's where we are at the moment. And you see that with like teams when they are doing well. You know, you look at someone like Villa at the moment, and you just think, everyone's in it together, and suddenly we're all in it together. And a lot of people say, oh, the 10 points has galvanised them. It's like, it's not. The 10 points has given us
unified
someone to call a bastard.
Yeah.
You know, as Sean Bean would say. That actually isn't at Everton. And that's fantastic. That's for the first time. The other stuff, like, you know, the form was coming. We were winning games. We were improving. Sean Dyche, you know, he's XG'd it to the full. And he's got his ear, and I'm fair play to him. But yeah, fair enough. We needed that common goal. And Burnley, you've made a mistake. You've made a mistake when you told us we couldn't take our A4 card. You made a mistake, and it came back and bit you.
We'd won. Let's just like clarify. We had won 6 out of 9 before the points deduction. So we were in good form. It's 10 from 13 now. Yeah.
Also,
which is an incredible run.
Can I also just say, we haven't, just because we've won the last 3-4 games, we haven't got those 10 points.
I did say we've got 9 back the other week. I shouldn't have said that, because what I meant was it's great that we've got our points almost back to where we started. We are still 10 points down, which would have us
should have 26
on
points.
The coattails of European football.
I don't like, and maybe people will call me for this, but I don't like the idea of people saying we've got our 10 points back. We haven't.
No,
I just don't like it. It's just me. People can call me what we want. Maybe I'm a Grinch. We should have 26 points.
We should have, Well, we have got 26 points.
No, I know, but the point being is we haven't won our 10 points back.
We've won 8 games of football. We've won 5 away games already, which is sensational.
Exactly. I think what people mean, no one's forgotten that we've been wronged. It's more just the fact that this team, credit to them, have made the difference.
But what I'm saying is,
I know what you mean.
This team deserves more.
No, it does.
Because it has won 26 points, and we haven't won 10 points back. What we've won it, we've earned 12 points out of the last 4 games.
We have.
Through sheer hard work. So we haven't won the 10 points back.
No, you're right.
And that's the only people who are stopping us from having them are the Premier League, because
Dick.
It says on what it says on that poster behind you.
We went 2-0 off. We were in good control, but Burnley did have a great opportunity to reduce arrears just before half time, which would have made it. I feel it would have been a different game in the second half if they'd gone 2-1 and we'd have had to go again. And obviously we lost that Delayed Core at half time, which meant we had to change again. It would have been a lot trickier, but we'll come on to that in a minute. But this was, Burnley had a great opportunity just before half time. It was a straight ball over the top, and we got caught down the channel. And I've got the arrow there, and all the lad's got to do is fire it across to Anduni, I think it is, in the middle. And you can see I've got Ben Godfrey circled here. He's let the kid get a run on him. We take it on one, and the ball is coming across, and all he's got to do is knock it in. Pickford's out the game with the ball, and you can see Godfrey just on the stretch here now. He's got to make a decision, and he's got to get this right.
Yeah.
Because if he caught, I know he's a little bit away from the lad, but if he'd have caught him, it's a penalty. He could hit it into his own goal.
Net.
He's got to get it right. We've seen that's where he's got to put the ball, and we can just see it on the next one. The touch there is minimal because the lads drew the foot back to make it 2-1, and the ball rolls wide at the far post. And I would have been there. I'd have been fuming had they scored that because.
But I was fuming anyway.
But it was a brilliant interception by Ben Godfrey to keep it at 2-0.
He did brilliant, but it was his fault that he lost his man as well.
But a great
brilliant recovery, yeah.
And that's the pace that he's got, isn't it?
And that's what we've wanted to see from Godfrey because, you know, when he has had opportunities lately, it looks like, oh, maybe the pace isn't quite there anymore, and he's shown it.
Yeah.
You can get into the other sides about, you know, your mark on, and that'll remain an issue for him, but the recovery pace is great, and it is a very good recovery.
I mean, it's not great from Taki either, is it? No. Either, you know, it's a ball over the top. They've let a lad just run through the midfield. He's gone onto it, and it's not particularly well. We've been caught with the high line. And as you mentioned there, Godfrey sort of lost them, but to make the recovery run and see. And again, I think of like not giving up. Not going, oh God, woe us again. He's gone, we're not conceding you. Because it would have been, for a
different game.
For the dominance we had, it would have brought them alive right before half time. As you mentioned, the Corey going off meant we had to jig it a little bit, and it would have been different with sitting back, knowing that they'd only have to get one more goal, another goal. So it was just huge moments in the game, huge moments, and luckily we got through it.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant recovery. We did lose that by the Corey at the half time, which was he's got a tight hamstring. Don't think he's going to be ready for Fulham. I think they'll leave that for Spurs. We'll have to wait and see. We brought Lewis Dobbin on at half-time. And I think when you look at what was available, his only real other option was to put Beto on and go with a genuine 4-4-2. Or ask Dom to drop into the 10 almost and pick the ball up. Neither of them were ideal. Unless he could have put Dan Juma on, I guess. But he quite clearly hasn't done enough. And obviously Lewis Dobbin come off the bench and scored against Chelsea, so he went with him. Dobbin didn't really get into the game, did he? He ran around. He had to get told a couple. I think the manager went berserk at him at one stage because he gave the ball away cheaply and they broke. I think Ben Godfrey had to get him and have a word in his ear as like, calm down, do your job, sit here and do your job. And he did work hard. But we did manage that second half with a real professionalism. They brought Lyle Foster on at half time. Good to see him back. He's obviously had issues with mental health. Really good to see him back involved in football again. Hopefully he's all right now. We just didn't really give them anything. I think Andouni had a shot from about 25, 30 yards. Pickford made a good save, but I'd have been disappointed if it had beat him. Other than that, they didn't really cause us anything. I know Foster had a header, but it was nowhere near going in the goal and troubling Jordan Pickford. They hit the bar, but it was offside. You could see he was miles offside anyway. And that was it. And for Everton to be 2-0 up away against a team that had to try and get something out of it, with 5 players down, having lost someone who's been absolutely instrumental to getting us goals and was doing a lot of work in that first half and after like the Corey, to not have a Drissagana Gate to come on at half time and change it. We coped really well, Jack, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, they didn't have many chances. You know, they moved the ball about a bit faster and nearly got in behind a few times, but they didn't. We maintained the line well. And it looks like, you mentioned the points deduction, and we should be on 26. It looks like a team who's fighting for Europe versus a relegation fighting team, because ultimately that's what it would be if the league table was correct, wasn't it?
We've seen enough of these, haven't we?
But we're showing our class. Because we've got the work done early on in the first half. We got the lead, and yeah, it would have been nice to see them go for it a bit more, but we've lost the key.
Did it frustrate you that we did almost... or are you just kind of getting used to it now? We did almost go, right, we've done our work for now. We're just going to hope we get another opportunity. And don't get me wrong, we nearly did. But what have you got to try and put us under pressure? Or are you just becoming used to it?
I understand it, to be honest. I'm quite used to it. It'd be nice to see. But you've got to remember this team's limitations and, what this manager is good at. And losing
as well.
Yeah, and, losing your top goal scorer, it's going to be difficult to do that. You're also playing a team who, they had a big 5-0 the other week, but for most of the season have not been the biggest goal scorers, and they're probably only going to get a goal if you make a mistake and let them in.
Yeah.
So just keep solid, and we've had success counter-attacking this season as well, and maybe we'll get a chance on the break, but first and foremost, just keep solid and just take the sting out of it. Don't let them have that second half rally, and if they do, that's when we try and just get on the ball a bit more and, make them worry so they're not committing as many players forward. But overall, I understand it.
The only thing I would have liked would have been like a consistent outball.
Yeah.
Just like a ball where you're going to trouble them. And I don't think we had that second half. And it as I said earlier, it does take a little bit of getting used to, because you start getting a little bit panicky, especially if there's a couple of passes that don't quite hit the mark, and you're like, what are you doing? And there was a couple of little moments you're like, why did we just do that pass there when if we just hooked it down the line and got
give them a free kick, didn't we, on the edge of the box?
Or we've just got Dom into the channel or whatever. So I would have liked that maybe if Dobbin could have, if we like that diagonal, don't we? So like left to right. That would have been like if Dobbin could have got into that area, but the manager was quite happy with what we had, and they didn't really have that much to trouble us. And of course things had to be rejigged a little bit. Dobbin did come on, and defensively he did all right. Offensively, again, I'd like him to keep hold of the ball a little bit more. If you're gonna run into channel behind alleys or whatever, make sure you get something out of it, whether it's a throw
right to the corner flag.
Because you're committing our men forward too, and you lose the ball cheaply. You're putting us on the back foot. Yeah. But I thought there was periods of the second half where, again, we just kept them in their box, and the ball was just coming back out to our players, and we were recycling. And of course, we've hit the post a couple of times.
I was going to say, we unsurprisingly, we got a corner, and it caused them a problem again. And another back post corner, and Michael Keane hooks it goalwards, it hits the post. And then Vittino smashes it against his own post, and they smuggle it away. And you're like, that would have been the moment, wouldn't it, to make it 3-0. And we then replaced Dominic Calvert-Lewin with Beto. And we had 2 moments where Beto might have thought he'd scored one, when James Trafford hesitated with the clear, and he got lucky. Beto closing down, it bounced the right way for him. If they'd gone the other way, Beto would have had to tap in. And then we had a good little moving, a little round the corner. I think it might have been James Garner slid him in, and he dinked it, and Trafford actually makes a really good save. Comes out and spreads himself, and you'd wondering if Beto could have just rolled it under him like he did against Newcastle. But we did have that, and it is great to have that option to go, well, Dom, because Dom was active enough in terms of he was putting himself about and making the runs, but he was getting less and less involvement as the game went on. And it is really good to be able to put someone who's going to come in and offer a different challenge in that second half to them, which is arms and legs of Beto, and he's a runner, and it is really good to have that. But are we a little bit concerned? It's half a dozen games now for Dom without a goal after he come back and scored a few.
That's definitely the little worry, isn't it?
Well, he's had chances as well in these games. He's had spells before in his Everton career where he's not scored, but you can actually look at his service in those games, and he's not been made a chance, and he's clearly been instructed to not be mobile. He's had some good chances and not took them. Yeah. First and foremost, what he gives us off the ball with his running and, his intelligence, his hold-up play, and, going up for all the headers. He still contributes to the team, but we are getting to a stage where, it'd be nice if you scored a goal or two, but he's still very important to the team, and I think even when he plays poorly, he plays well because of what he gives us.
Ped, do we need him now to start scoring? Because there will be games, won't there, when that header he has in the first half might be the only clear-cut chance we have.
Absolutely. You want your centre-forward scoring goals. It's huge because, as you said there will be moments, there will be games where you only get one opportunity and you want it to drop to your number 9 and you want to put it in the back of the net. You want him feeling like he's not got another thing that he needs to do. So if he's doing his job and he's scoring goals, there's no pressure on him. Even if it's like if you could just get back to like say 1 and 3, then you know, I don't know, even if it was 1 and 4, just to get that a little bit more consistency and not be looking for the next goal. I don't think he is someone who actually like I don't think he stresses over goals. He doesn't seem to anyway. But I don't know, maybe he does, and that's maybe why he smashed the one against Chelsea last week. But it'd just be nice to get like that one thing away, get a goal, and then reset and be like, right, I scored in the last game, so I'll get it one in this game.
It's every centre forward wants goals, don't they? That's what it's about, and yeah, he is contributing, which is good. But just when you think of like, obviously, we've got a Carabao Cup quarter final that might be tight. He might get one opportunity. We go to Spurs. He might only get one chance. Everton might only get one really good chance in that. Or Man City at home, not going to get tons of chances. You want your striker scoring, but like I've just said, it is one big thing where we didn't have last season, but we do have now, is that ability to replace him with better.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, that's there, isn't it? And it's not, I don't think it's something that is absolutely taken off yet. But it gives Beto minutes, it gives him an understanding of the Premier League, takes the pressure off Dom, keeps him fit. They've got different skill sets, so when you bring them on, you are actually changing the game in terms for the opposition. They don't know what's coming next for them, so that's huge. It's up to Beto. There's an opportunity there. You'd be saying to Beto, you get a couple of goals here, you know, then it wouldn't be that far-fetched that you might start the next game. I can't see it because he doesn't give us what Dom gives us physically or against centre-backs, but it is a little bit of a little carrot at the moment for Beto, that opportunity's there.
Jack, to me though, that has been, I get what Ped's saying, but that has been a key thing for Everton's success of late, is that being able to have him. Like we didn't have Dom at Forest because he had an injury, but we had Beto, and Beto was handful enough that he almost ended up with it. He should have had himself a goal, but he's physically, we saw against Newcastle, the round the corner ball, and he runs on and slots it. We can play slightly different, but he is arms and legs. And I thought when he come on at the weekend, he knocked them about a little bit more. It's just like, that's it, mate. Go and be that raw, that you're knocking people over. And people are like, who's this? You know, and I think that has given Everton an extra gear as well this season.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you talk about consistent outballs. He gives us something different to what Dom gives us if, you know, we're not winning the headers and we're not picking up the second balls. And, okay, well, you've got better, but we can make that run round the outside and... Okay, it won't work every time because you're giving your defenders a lot of space to run into to potentially block them. But you know, having that strength combined with that speed that he has as well, and you know, he does have a bit of a gangly frame, so he's harder to get hold of. And a massive thing he gives us as well is the availability of Dom, because has Dom played 90 minutes this season? Because Beto's been coming on for him practically every game, and if Dom was being forced to play the full 90 because we had no one to take his place, would he have picked up an injury by now and potentially missed more games? And just good to have two strikers. I do think there's a quality gap, and you know, I do want more from both of them. Yeah, just having an option.
And we've got Chimity as well, who I know he's a lot further down the pecking order, but he's another one, 6'4", and he's a young lad, and he might come on and put him. So it's good to just have those opportunities, I think, to have that framework of a striker, whereas last year it was Maupay, who's me, my size, going from someone who's ped, you know, and it's okay if your little striker's quick. You know, I'm still quicker than Maupay now. I'm 51. You know what I mean? So there has been a big change there, and I think now only when you look at the squad, the midfield's a little bit of a concern, isn't it? We've obviously Andre Gomez played for the 21s the other night. I'd imagine he'll be in the Everton squad for Fulham. Yeah. Particularly because Abdoulaye Doucouré, I don't think will be. We knew Elijah Campbell would be in the squad at the weekend because Everton were down to bare bones defenders, but obviously we get Jarrod Brantwaite back for this one and disregard Gay. We'll have to wait and see whether Seamus is available as well, but we do need some different options in midfield as well, because that's one area we haven't got. But we did keep another clean sheet, which is fantastic, and especially, like we said before, losing 3 at the back 4 from the week before, still being able to keep a clean sheet. Michael Keane was in it, so let's have a look at his numbers. 58 touches, 1 goal, 8 clearances, won 4 of his 6 aerial duels and completed 3 out of 8. long balls and his heat map there. And good solid performance from him.
Yeah, I give him man for the game.
Yeah, well, key goal, defended well.
Scored the goal, defended well, and just all round had a good game and deserved it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
like we were saying before, the goals, the headline, but the defensive performance and just maintaining that, winning his aerial duels, which is what Branthwaite's been doing. Just maintaining that is the big thing that will keep his name in contention.
Absolutely. One player who I thought we saw again at the weekend, how important he can be to Everton. And now when he's in the team, we get more than just a midfield player. It was Amadou Onana. You get the physicality. We saw that with his goal. But I think someone who is so good in possession that when he drops into that 6 and gets it and receives it, he'll take it in tight areas. This is his numbers. See his heat map there. 47 touches, 1 goal, 4 clearances, won 11 of his 14 duels. And had 2 tackles. That was Jack Harrison had 2 as well. They were the most tackles that Everton plays at that. But Onana is, I think, for me, he's gone up a level this year. He's more consistent now, Ped. And I think mainly because we are kind of playing in the same role every week.
You see his heat map there, the way he's, the hotspot's actually in their half, just sitting in their half. He's just so good on the ball, so silky, moves it really well.
Strong to get off it as well.
Uses his body well, wins tackles, obviously scored the header, gives us that extra little threat. I think James Garner plays better when he allows James Garner, and I thought James Garner and Jack Harrison, the way they played, was really important as well, because they're brave. They're brave on the ball. Yeah, that's something. Again, we haven't had a lot of players doing that recently, being brave on the ball. And their tenacity was really important. Just that Onana sitting behind him, just keeping things ticking over. So yeah, he had again a really good game, picking up from the second half against Chelsea.
Jack?
Yeah, he's just an absolute wall in midfield, isn't he? I would hate to play against him if I was a Premier League midfielder. I think he'd just give you a torrid time. There's a situation where I think he won about 4 headers in the space of about 10 seconds. But what if you were a Premier League
midfielder like Kevin De Bruyne? You had that ability. Would you hate it?
I'd look at him and I go, he's almost as good as me.
Okay. No, he's been brilliant, hasn't he, lately?
Yeah, and like Ped said, he's gone up a level. I think that's the maturity in his performance as well. It's, knowing this was a big year for him, because he had good spells last year, good performances. Did he have a good season overall? Was he putting those good performances together consistently? I don't really think so. Because we all knew the quality was there. But it's
the most games he'd ever played as well. Last season, most games he'd ever started.
But then coming into his second season, going, hey, you're not the new kid anymore, you need a bit of responsibility now, you're going to be a starter, you're going to have another lad next to you who's not been a regular starter at the club as well. We need you to boss this midfield, and he's been doing it.
And Ped, Idrissa Gana Gay's been key for him though as well, hasn't he? Showing him when he's come in and gone out the side and coming back in, he's showing him kind of like the levels as well. I think Onana's benefit. I think both of them have, to be fair. I think James Garner has benefited as well from Idrissa, hasn't he? That experience.
Yeah, that experience, and obviously being able to play games as well. Then him coming in and he's played with both of them, and they'll all benefit from that kind of experience. And Idrissa Gana Gay's gone out of the side at times, and when he's come back in, has looked great. And to have those 3 in midfield for the 2 places is really working, because it's actually pushing them all. Something to fight for. So if we've got them back all available for the Fulham game, again, that's an interesting one for the manager.
I was going to say, just before we finish, but the Fulham game, because obviously we think the Corey's going to be out. If he's got a tight hamstring at them, is it really worth risking him if it might need a couple of days to settle down? Do we think he'll tinker with the system to just play those 3 in midfield as almost, and ask one of them ask one of them to break forward? Or are we going to go with 2 and then we'll play someone else off our striker?
I think we might go with Harrison there, because we've seen against the start of the Chelsea game, was it, when we had to drop the Corey further back and Harrison went into that behind the striker role. I think last year when Decore went out for a suspension, so Newcastle, not Chelsea. It's been a long week. But last season when exactly,
he's not used to Everton winning 4 games. But that's what it is.
Yeah, last season when we lost to Corey for a spell, he struggled, Dice replicate it, and I think he trusts Harrison to do a variation of that role. So I think maybe we'll go with that, and maybe it's a chance for Dan Juma. Maybe.
See, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Let's have a look at the stats anyway from the game. Burnley 0, Everton 2. 14 shots for Burnley, 9 for Everton. 6 on target for the Blues, just 2 for Burnley. No big chances for Burnley, 5 big chances for Everton. And that possession in the sweet spot, Ped.
Oh, it's in the pocket, isn't it?
Just there, isn't it?
It really is in the pocket.
That's the one.
We've been hitting that recently.
That is the one. That's what it's all about. In fact, we've only had one. I think I'd seen the thing before the games, like all the games Everton have won, they've had less possession.
Yeah, all
you know,
of them.
when the one game that we had miles more possession was Luton at home when we got beat. So we just like to hang around that 38% possession mark, don't we?
Place to be.
The sweet spot. There you go. A great win for Everton. 4 on the spin. Let us know what you think about that. You're delighted with the way it's going for Sean Dyche's men. How far can Everton go this season? I'll be honest, just right now, being able to sleep in April is that's the first marker. That's like my 40 points marker, that one.
Yeah, it'd be nice, that would.
That would be chilled, and obviously if we get some points back, it would boost it again, and we get all of them back, like a lot of people feel we should, then we who knows, we could be challenging for the European place, but that's how good Everton's form is at the moment. We're going to carry on now on Premier. The link is in the description if you want to become a Premier member. Otherwise, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet. See you later.